back to the Fermented World Homebrew channel. Today we're looking in on the cider quest, which is my first ever apple cider. So we're going to take this lid off, have a look at what we've got, re-sterilise the airlock because there's a couple of flies in there which didn't get to the brew. Luckily, it's looking very clear. Now this was started on the 15th of last month, so it is now the 15th again, so it's been in a month, which is probably a bit longer than it needed, but I've just been busy with other stuff, so I've removed the lid, flipped it over, and we're going to take a hydrometer reading. See what we've got. It smells nice. There is definitely a pungent smell of cider. Normally pungent would be a negative word, but this is a very glorious word in this description. So we've fermented out pretty much all the way. No sugars left. We are 0.99246, 0.996 with a start gravity of 1.048. So quick calculation, and we shall see what we've got, and then we can have a little taste. Probably told you before, I use an app called Brewer's Friend. It's really good. I really only use the calculator on it, but you can use it for other things like creating beer recipes and stuff like that. So what did I say it was? 4.8. Yeah, so 4.8 down to, this is going to be strong, 0.996, 6.8%. Not bad. Now, I could have diluted it, but I didn't want to. This is my first cider, so I wanted it to just be as it is. 6.8%, it's got some bite to it. Let's have a little taste. It smells really, really nice. There's no off scents or anything like that. That's really good. Now, the question I've got for myself is, am I going to carbonate this? Do I want a carbonated cider or do I want it flat? See, I like a dry cider. And even now, that's lovely. That's really nice. But it is 10:47 in the morning, so I am going to put that back in because, oh shit, I've just disturbed all that flipping lease. Okay, change of plan, I'm drinking that. Just disturbed all the yeast at the bottom. Absolute bar steward. Right. A quick contemplation of what we're going to do. I've got all the stuff ready. I've got an extra bucket, the same, well, it's bigger than this, so that I can rack it off out of the lees or the yeasty deposit at the bottom. If you don't know what lees is, that's what we call it. Or in beer, it's called trub. It might even be called trub in cider, I'm not sure. Got everything sterilised, ready to rock, but what I don't have is the bottles washed. So, I think either way we're going to be bottling this today. So, I am going to wash and sterilise, what have we got? We've got 2 gallons. I'm going to wash and sterilise about 20 bottles. No? 2, 4, about 16, yeah, probably about 20 bottles. And what we're going to do is, I've actually decided we're going to try and carbonate one half of it and leave the other still, which, to be fair, it is really nice as it is. I cannot deny that. Unfortunately, I've just disturbed a little bit of yeast like a moomin. But hey, right, so let's get the lid back on, airlock back on. We're going to wash some bottles, sterilise some bottles, and we'll be back later. Okay, so I'm back a couple of hours later. Time just disappears, had other things to do. We're back looking at the side quest. We have determined that it is 6.8%, tasting good. I'm going to bottle it today. Half of it is going to be attempted carbonation, and the other half is going to be just still and left as it is. So one's going to have nothing added, the other is going to have a bit of sugar added. And also, while I was out earlier on, I picked up this book, and it's got all sorts in. It's got beer, cider, mead, you name it, it's probably got it. And the thing that sold it to me is the beer recipes. It had a Pilsner in there. That was it, pure and simple Pilsner. I'm gonna have to half the ingredients because obviously my batch isn't as big as what this one would do. This would do like, what does it say, 37 litres is what it says it will give, but that's too much for me, so I'll half it or deduct a small amount of it. I want about, I could probably do, what can I hold in here? I can do about 12 litres safely. But anyway, yeah, that's for another day. It's got mead in there. I've not had a look at the meads, to be honest. I'm sure there's probably some sort of ciders in there as well. Cheats cider. Simply empty juice into a demijohn, add yeast and put the bung in the airlock. Now I've done this. I have actually done that before with store-bought apple juice, and you know what? It came out okay. Didn't taste too bad at all. So what we're going to do now is we're going to rack this into this other clean vessel, which has been sat waiting all day, and then we're going to go about doing the bottling. So let's get it on. Let's get it all set up. Get the apple juice flowing. That's going on there. Oh, it seems to have settled back down again now, which is good, because I did disturb it earlier on and kind of kicked myself after. So auto siphon in, and we shall let the gravity do its job. I'm going to be taking real good care to dodge as much of that yeast deposit at the bottom as possible. Because you don't want that. Right, there we go. We're actually flowing now. So I will speed this bit up and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so we've transferred it into a separate vessel. We have left behind probably about that much gunk. We did get a little bit of it come back into this, but that's not going to matter. It'll settle out when we bottle it. All we've got to do is be careful when we pour it. There's two ways you could do this. You could bottle it with an auto siphon, but I'm choosing not to because I've put it into a vessel that's got a tap, so it makes more sense to use the tap and a bottle wand with set attachment at the top, which just attaches directly to your tap, and it just makes things a bit easier. So we are going to bottle all of these normally, and then we're going to add sugar to the half that are going to be carbonated. Judging at this, we've got about 8 litres, so that's going to give us 16 bottles after we've missed a little bit of the bit of it that was all caked up. There's quite a big amount of lees or yeast deposit at the bottom of that, so I'm not sure whether that always happens with cider, but it did seem to be quite large in comparison to, say, others that I've done, other beers and things like that. But hey, different yeasts do different things. So we're going to be adding a teaspoon of sugar to half of the bottles, and we're just going to see whether we can get a carbonation out of it and see what it's like carbonated. Now, this cider is gorgeous. Like, it's dry, so it's not sweet, which I didn't want it to be anyway. I don't like sweet ciders. Plus, I don't mind sweet ciders. I prefer a dry cider. They're much better, I think. You get more of the apple flavour coming through. So, we are now going to just zip down here, and we're going to get this bottled. I'm going to open the bottle wand, and that should start filling up eventually. And we're just going to bottle. It's pretty simple. Just going to angle that down here so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to take the bottle, we're going to push it up against the bottle wand. The cider will start flowing through here, and yeah, I mean, even if it's a bit cloudy, it doesn't matter. You know, we drink cloudy ciders, but it is going to fizzle out, I know it will. And that's that. That's the process. The hardest bit of brewing a cider, a proper cider from apples, instead of buying the store-bought juice and doing it that way, the hardest part is chopping. You need like it's a whole brew day basically. It's like a 4 to 5 hour process of chopping. I used about 9.5 kilograms of apples to make this, and it gave me 8 litres. So you kind of need to weigh it up as to whether you've got the time to press the apples yourself like I did, or whether you want to just do a cheat one like I've done before. Just because I can, I just wanted to see whether it worked, and it worked all right. With just apple juice bought from the store in the cartons. It's really, really nice. I think I put something in it like a lavender tea or something like that. What was it called? It was it was butterfly tea, butterfly pea tea or something like that, and it actually gave it like a purpley kind of colour as well. It's pretty good. Anyway, I'm going to stop yabbering and I'm going to speed these up, get these bottled, and we'll be back to add some sugar to half of them. Okay, so as predicted, we have got 16 bottles, and we're going to do a row of ones that are carbonated or attempted carbonation. It's been fermenting a month. The yeast could be inactive, although we did kick up a bit of yeast in there as it was being pulled through, so that could actually be a helpful thing. I've got myself a little drinky poo of it. It does have some bits in the bottom, some like pith and stuff like that, but I'm not bothered about that at all. So 8 of these are not going to be carbonated, so they're going to get closed off, labelled up and moved into the store. They are as dry, pretty much. I don't think they could go much further fermented. What were they at, sorry? There may be a couple of points, like minimal amounts of points. Yeah, there's 0.6. So it's negligible. If it does carbonate, it'll be extremely light and then it'll be gone. Label one of these up so we know what we've got. Cider Quest. Side quest, and it was 6.8, so quite a considerable amount of sugars was in the apples. Pretty good, quite happy with that. Bottled on today's date, which is the 15th of the 11th, 24. Now, normally, I leave my stuff in bottles for a month, beer-wise. So I think I'm going to follow suit, and I'm going to do the same with these. I'm going to give them, well, I say a month. It's normally 3 weeks. 3 weeks minimum. So they're the ones that are going to go into the store. I'm going to have to label all them up so that I know that they're not the fizzy ones. And what we're going to do now is we're going to prime these with a bit of sugar. So 1 teaspoon of the sugar. And get right in there. Level it off. In it goes. And move over to the next one. And what this will do, if you're not aware, it's going to hopefully kickstart the yeast, because now the yeast can see that there's sugar there, that it can carry on fermenting. So what it will do is it will start fermenting this sugar, which creates carbon dioxide, which then can't escape the bottle, so it's forced into the beverage. We call this bottle conditioning, I believe, or sometimes known as natural carbonation. That's just literally 1 teaspoon in each. We're now going to give them the little heave ho. Just put them back in there where they live. Lid back on that. And because as you're pouring it in, it gets stuck around the neck. So what I do is I just gently, because we don't want to add any oxygen to this, I'm going to gently just tip it backwards and forwards once, and we'll just complete that with all of them. And then these are going to stay in the kitchen. These aren't actually going to the store because the store's quite cold. There's no radiators in there. Oh, why has that not got a full bottle's worth? Right, well, that's as good as that's getting. Why was the one that wasn't full? Well, I don't know. Let's mark the lid of that one with an X so we know that it wasn't full. Because, yeah, just because. I don't know why it wasn't full. Maybe I stopped what I was doing halfway through a bottle and assumed I'd done it. But anyway, I'm going to carry on doing that. We'll label these up. These need to stay in a warm place for 2 weeks. And then that will be them carbonated. If they haven't carbonated by then the sugar that we've added will just sweeten it ever so slightly, which I can't say is going to be nice, but there will be alcohol in there, that's for sure. Righty ho. So let's get these labelled up. Side Quest Fizzy. Well, it's Side Quest, but it's cider. If you get it, yeah. It's one of them things I like to do. Makes me think I'm clever. Side Quest, 6.8%. Now, this already tastes good. I've had ciders in the past off a friend, and they've all been a bit like that. So I don't know what I've done that they don't do, or maybe they use different apples. Maybe it's the apples they use. So 15th, 11th, 24. Right, so I'll leave them up here. I know that that's them. I'm gonna leave a pen down here because I know that I need to label them up. And for now, that is it. Eventually we'll be opening a bottle, we'll give it a taste, and I'll let you know what it tastes like. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.